What's going on, everybody? Big deal here. Now, I was about to play Crimson Desert and I noticed I was queued for an update. When I checked Steam, there were no patch notes. So I went to the Crimson Desert website and it looks like there's some brand new patch notes up, and this is pretty exciting. The team at Pearl Abyss is making an actual effort to listen to the players and actually give us what we want. So this is great news if you love this game, because that means it's only going to keep getting better. Now, once you kick back and relax, I'm going to go ahead and go over these patch notes for you so you don't have to. All right, this update is patch notes version 1.00.03. It says, fellow Greymanes, check out the fixes and improvements that have been added to this patch below. It says major updates. In this patch, we've adjusted some gamepad and keyboard/mouse controls, increased health restored from food and items, and added new item storage to the Howling Hill camp. So this is two major things that people have been complaining about, and they are making efforts to adjust them. Now, I did go in and check the gamepad and the keyboard and mouse controls. You can't remap them, unfortunately, but it does look like they made a few changes here and there to help kind of improve the quality of the gameplay. Increasing the health restored from food, I didn't really feel like this was necessary. I feel like the game was pretty good. I haven't had no issues in that part, but I'm sure some people have, so hope you all are happy about that. Now, the storage, I really hated the storage. I'm glad that we finally got a storage box. Now, I hopped in the game real quick. I checked the Howling Hill camp, and the storage box that's always been there is still there, but now you can move items back and forth between it, so it's actually usable now. All right, now let's get into their message. It says, fellow Greymanes, thank you to those who have been playing Crimson Desert and sharing your feedback with us. As we mentioned in a previous notice, we have been paying close attention to your experiences across issue reports, videos, live streams, and community discussions. Your feedback has been invaluable to us, and we appreciate the time and care you have taken to share it with us. This patch includes some of the improvements and fixes we were able to prepare first, including changes based on player feedback, like the addition of storage at Howling Hill for storing inventory items, and some improvements related to keyboard and mouse controls. However, this is not the end of our control improvements. Now, this is key because, like I said, they made some changes, but they're going to keep doing it. We will continue to improve both controller and keyboard/mouse controls moving forward. We are currently reviewing previous gameplay elements based on your feedback and will roll out further improvements and fixes in subsequent updates. We remain committed to improving Crimson Desert and your experience in Pywell. Thank you once again for your continued support. Details regarding this patch schedule, fixes, and improvements can be found below. All right, let's jump in and kind of see what they updated overall. So quest. So they fixed an issue in Chapter 2, the quest for Union, where the cat would sometimes stop leading the way. Haven't personally had this happen to me, but I'm sure that would be a pain. They improved the Chapter 4 quest, Mysterious Pot, by making the symbol stop briefly when it reaches the correct position while repairing the ancient generator. They fixed an issue in Turn Ali's quest where the quest would not complete if a Becker shield that had already been refined was refined again. They improved the notification to appear when crime status prohibits the quest from progressing. Now we're going to get into the content portion. They added more Abyss nexuses across the continent of Pywell to improve fast travel via teleportation. This is pretty big. I mean, this map is huge, so this is going to help us a lot kind of traverse a little better and explore and kind of respect time a little more for people who don't have much. They added private storage that can be used to store items for your inventory. The private storage is located in the initial temporary lodging in Hernand and at Howling Hill Camp. They reduced the time required to acquire knowledge. They changed skill observations to be only required once to learn before being able to use it. Adjusted when Force Palm is learned to allow players to use it much earlier in the game. They reduced the number of hits required to log trees. This one was ridiculous to me, so I'm glad that is fixed. They changed logging so that trees are chopped with basic swings without aiming first. Decreased the QTE difficulty in arm wrestling minigame when pinned by an opponent. I didn't find arm wrestling hard at all, but hey, Improved the visibility of items that can provide knowledge by adding icons and tooltips that show the total number of knowledge required. Changed ore veins and collectibles to be discovered automatically when you are within a certain proximity. Regular ore, 8 meters, tools 2 meters, and then it just says bonfire, special cooking tool, grindstones, but I don't understand that portion, I guess. Okay, they improved the sky bridge alignment devices in the abyss to trigger immediately when placed in the correct activation point. They improved the visibility of sky bridge alignment devices within the abyss to make them easier to locate. Improved the visibility of the circuit board attached to axiom force to show its lines while being moved. Improve vision to equip automatically after reading memory clues with the lantern. Okay, this is good because trying to go back and put this thing on, it's just a pain in the butt. I don't like that system at all. They improved the camera movement when aiming a bow at a brazier and adjusted the range for lightning arrows accordingly. Added an indestructible brazier in front of the Lion Crest watchtower. Improved the trading post UI to display Damien, Anka, and Cliff's horses inventory. Added effects for destroying facilities at enemy strongholds. The effects of facility destruction are now as follows. Infirmary. Wounded enemies no longer return to the fight. Storage facility. Enemy max health minus 10%. Barracks facilities. Enemies attack minus 5. Improve the visuals of certain puzzles for clarity. Increase the health restored by ingredients and food items and added new food to the Hernan Tavern. Increase the lantern range for detecting clues. Reduced stamina consumption for Nature's Grasp. Fixed an issue where pets would fail to loot items under certain conditions. Changed certain items in the witch's shop to reset daily. Changed the properties of bismuth ore and how it is gathered. Petrification is now applied by default when you approach bismuth ore. Bismuth ore can now be mined using regular methods like pickaxes rather than requiring legendary damage attacks. Lowered the difficulty of the marksmanship and archery contest minigames. Fixed an issue where abyss cells electric field would not disappear. Improved the visibility of the part that needs to be grabbed with axiom force on the sky bridge alignment device. Change visiones to be automatically equipped and play after reading memory fragments with the lantern. Didn't I already say that? Fixed an issue in the ethereal pathway abyss where players could not observe force palm if they did not step on the abyss nexus. Fixed an issue where stamina was not consumed after a certain quest cutscene. All right, now let's get into some controls. General, improve the response speed of the interaction UI, improve the responsiveness of the jump inputs, fixed aiming to target the center of the screen when using a lantern or while unarmed, improved the equipment quick slot so that reselecting your current equipment will stow it, improve the responsiveness of the main menu UI, fixed an intermittent issue where the main menu would not open, keyboard and mouse, improved the responsiveness of characters' movement controls, added the following shortcuts to open and close certain menus: I inventory, K skills, J journal, M map. I don't play on keyboard and mouse, but I feel like they definitely should have been default. Here's some more keyboard and mouse changes. They fixed an issue where the key guide at the bottom right of the screen would not update when using guard or aim. Added a default control option for guard aim, side button 1, and evade, side button 2. Changed controls to maintain movement input when using axiom force. Fixed an issue where duplicate keys could be assigned in shortcut and input settings. Fixed an issue where certain inputs did not function correctly after changing the shortcuts and input settings. All right, next we have boss fights and combat. They reduce the health and attack of specific enemies and bosses. Now, I'm already going to tell you I'm not going to like this because I don't like when they handhold and make things way too easy for people. I just feel like this is a bad change overall. This should not be made easier, but let's keep going, see how they did. They reduced the stamina consumption for blocking attacks, lowered the difficulty of the ambush encounters triggered while heading towards Reed Devil boss stage, adjusted certain attack patterns for Key Rush the Slayer, increased the accumulation of the stun gauge on bosses upon a successful parry, changed boss weakness effects to display even if the player has not acquired the specific knowledge, fixed an issue where comrades remained when entering a boss fight, fixed an issue where fire arrows failed to ignite enemies on hit, fixed an issue where certain bosses fell unnaturally in specific situations, fixed an issue where certain bosses ran away too frequently when hit under specific circumstances, fixed an issue where the blinding flash weakness was not being properly applied to certain enemies. Some of these ain't bad. The issues that they fix is fine, but reducing the health and attack of bosses, that's just, they shouldn't have done that. NPC and dialogue. Now this was a big one because I had NPCs just saying whatever, and different NPCs would just repeat the same stuff. So they're on the right path with this one. So they fixed an issue where some English audio lines were not playing, reduced the price of restorative items sold by Carl at Howling Hill Camp from 10 silver to 1, improved animal behavior to appear more natural when near the player, fixed abnormal behavior and placement of positions for certain NPCs, fixed an issue where NPCs would catch each other cheating during the minigame duo. UI fixes and improvements. Improve food items to automatically register to a quick slot upon first acquisition. Improve the display positioning for the homing pigeon letter UI. Improve the camera movement when observing skills. Fix an intermittent issue where the UI failed to remove the destination on the map menu. Fixed an intermittent issue where the cursor did not display correctly when navigating the shop menu. Moved the knowledge and notification menu from the others tab to the journal tab and adjusted the order. So they're trying to consolidate tabs, I guess, to make it a little more intuitive, but who knows. Graphics and settings. PS5 and Xbox added a toggle for 120 Hz mode within settings. They fixed an issue where settings were not saving correctly after using default option in the settings menu. Fixed an issue where resolution and upscaling settings were not retained when restarting the game. Fixed an issue where character equipment and cats were invisible on the minimum performance quality setting. Fixed an issue where screen quality appeared abnormal and activating FSR ray regeneration or DLSS ray construction. Fixed an issue where monitor size was incorrectly detected at certain resolutions, causing abnormal display output. Fixed an issue where the game screen appeared to cut off or misaligned in full screen windowed or borderless windowed modes. For Mac, they fixed an issue where default graphic settings were incorrectly set to cinematic on certain MacBook models. Also on Mac, they fixed an issue where the game would occasionally crash under specific graphic settings. Fixed an issue where the abyss remained visible in specific situations while on the ground. Improved and fixed various visual effects triggering during specific NPC animations. Improved the appearance of the waterfall in the Abyss tutorial. Fixed awkward animations that occurred when a character collided with a wagon. Fixed an issue where letterboxing failed to deactivate after certain cutscenes. Next, we got performance, stability, and gameplay. PS5, they fixed an issue where the game would occasionally crash when opening the map menu. Fixed an issue where the game would not launch because dedicated graphics cards were not recognized in environments using both integrated and dedicated graphics cards. They fixed an issue where graphics cards were not correctly recognized on versions below a specific build of Windows 10. Improved detection of graphics card version that could not be found. Fixed several stability, performance, optimization, and crash issues across PC and console platforms. I didn't have any of these issues, thankfully, but congratulations to the people who did, because hopefully it's fixed for you. Xbox, they fixed an issue where gameplay was unavailable while online. Localization, fixed various localization errors and improved localization quality across all languages. Finally, we got other fixes, where they fixed an issue where the death and loading sequences were delayed. They improved horse behavior to approach the player after being called, fixed an issue where the character would be pushed sideways when using force palm or stab while against a wall, and they fixed an issue with the DualSense controller vibration failed to function in specific Windows environments. And then it just says, for known issues, please check the notice below. So this is a good start, guys. I think we're off to a good start, and they'll just continue to improve. Let me know which change you were most excited for in the comments. And as always, thanks for watching the video. Catch you all on the next one.